is time for another book versus movie video, but this time it is a festive one. Welcome to my book versus movie for A Boy Called Christmas. Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. My name is Katrina and I make bookish content here on this channel every week, and then movie reviews here at the weekend. In the description box below you will find all of my social links, including my blog and my Goodreads, where I review most of the things that I write. I feel like I need to write a review of this book because I literally just finished it and then watched the movie and now I'm making this video, so everything happened yesterday. So I love making book versus movie videos, and I'm excited that this is a Christmas one because obviously it is Vlogmas time right now. I am doing a weekly vlog this year with some bonus videos in between times, so make sure you are subscribed and hit that notification bell so that you do not miss out. All of my book versus movie videos are spoiler free, and as always I recognise that when an author signs over the rights to their book, the movie studios can do what they want with it, change characters, places, but I love looking at the similarities and differences between a book and a movie and bringing them to you here. So A Boy Called Christmas, I listened to this one on audiobook. It's based on the book by Matt Haig. I have enjoyed a lot of Matt Haig's adult books, including some of his non-fiction. I went through a stage of kind of binging him. I have not read The Midnight Library, which is the one that a lot of people found him through, but I stayed away from that one because of the hype and I've just never got round to reading it, so I do know that I need to read that one. But A Boy Called Christmas is the first of his kids books that I have read, his middle grade books. I like reading middle grade. I'm a teacher, so I like reading a bit of everything, and I'm excited to carry on with this series. I have to start by saying I really enjoyed the book. It gave me Roald Dahl vibes. I was getting a lot of like James and the Giant Peach from this one, but it was also a little bit like, now who was it like? It reminded me a little bit of Cinders and Sparks series by Lindsay Kelk, because we go on a journey, and it was just a little bit Narnia-esque too, and all of those things I really love, and so that's why I really enjoyed the book. This movie is a Sky original, but it's in collaboration with Netflix, so I don't know if it's on Sky in the UK and Netflix in other countries. If you've watched it in a different country, please do let me know in comments. But I would say on the whole, the storyline of the book and the movie are basically parallel. The big difference, and this is not a spoiler, is the fact that in the movie we have Maggie Smith going to babysit her great nieces and nephews. I think that she was their mum's aunt, as far as I'm aware. She was their aunt, and so she goes and babysits them and tells them this bedside story that is the story of A Boy Called Christmas, and it was very appropriate having Maggie Smith telling this story because obviously she's sort of a bit of a legend in UK film. She's Dame Maggie Smith, and I listened to the audiobook of this one, and that one is read by Stephen Fry, and so we've got these super English voices, British voices telling this story, and so that's where it kind of was more of a parallel for me because I'd done the audiobook, and so I'd had Stephen Fry telling me the story, and then I was having Maggie Smith tell me the story. However, obviously in the book you just pick it up and read the story, whereas the movie has the added element, a bit like Princess Bride, of the story being read to some children, and I really like that element about it. And then, without going into spoilers, Maggie Smith has a connection with the story somehow that you only find out right at the end of the movie. So make sure, if you haven't watched it yet, you're looking for that one, not telling you what it is, of course. Then we have the actual story itself, and basically it is word for word what's on the script. Obviously the audiobook was about 4.5 hours, so it is on the shorter side. It is a middle grade novel, and so to be able to fit that into, I think the movie is an hour and 41, to be able to fit that into an hour and 41 is quite straightforward. It's quite straightforward script for book, you know, dialogue for dialogue, because obviously a lot of the descriptions of things and a lot of the events we can see happen on the screen rather than having to read about them on the page, and so it was easier to do that. This happens and this is how we're showing it on the screen. There's a couple of points where side characters in the book are slightly more developed than they are in the film, and again that's probably a timing issue, but I don't know why those choices were made. So there's a few side characters that have more of a scene or have more of a recurring role or get more page time in the book that get less screen time, but those characters are still there. One of the things that is a sort of feature of the book that I enjoyed the quirkiness aspect of it, and what made me get those kind of Roald Dahl vibes, was the fact that Nicholas, our main character, his father in the book has 9.5 fingers, and there's a story about how he lost half a finger, and that isn't in the film. And I thought that that was a bit of a shame, because I thought that that was a sort of nice feature in the book. And again, it made me think of the grandmother in The Witches, and then there is an evil aunt, and that's where I was getting the James and the Giant Peach vibes from, the Aunt Sponge and Aunt Spiker characters, and it really made me want to watch the movie of James and the Giant Peach. I have read that book with a class as well. It was a mixed year 3-4 class, and they loved it. I used to get to read them that at the end of the day. That was fantastic. So yeah, I just the middle grade vibes in general. I like any kind of storyline where we go on a journey. Again, because of the snow, I think that's why it was giving me the Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, specifically part of Narnia vibes. But we get to go on a journey with Nicholas, and we get to meet some mystical creatures, including Mika the mouse. I was worried that Mika the mouse was going to be like too CGI, or they were going to kind of make his character slightly different. But I really, really enjoyed the way they did Mika the mouse. He reminded me a little bit of a hamster. I used to have hamsters as pets, and so I really warmed to him on the screen as much as I did on the book. And I'm excited that he has his own kind of standalone book in the series, so I definitely would like to read his book. But yeah, overall, I was really pleased with the way they'd adapted it. But as I say, I think it was slightly easier because it was a shorter book, and so those little details you can kind of cut back on, and you can show that description on the screen rather than having to write it on the page. And I think that if you enjoyed the book, then you will definitely enjoy the movie, and if you enjoyed the movie, then you will definitely enjoy the book. I would highly recommend both. I did enjoy the audiobook of this one, although I mentioned in my weekly vlog as I was reading it, so your weekly vlog, you're getting a reading vlog along with it as well, where it's been edited, I felt like the points where Stephen Fry was getting loud, shouty, excited, violent, they were a little bit too loud. I had to kind of like turn the volume down as I was listening to it and then turn it back up. That might be because I was listening in the car as opposed to on headphones, but then that's where I listen to my audiobooks, and so that's how I'm going to judge them. So that was the only thing, but the fact that it was narrated by Stephen Fry was great. I haven't listened to anything that was narrated by Stephen Fry since the last time I listened to one of his books, so it's been a little while and I enjoyed it. But yeah, I think that it is a good Christmas film. It is a good Christmas read, and I think it's a general good read. When it comes to the middle grade genre, it doesn't sugarcoat anything. If anything, I would say that the sort of nastier scenes in the book are ever so slightly nastier than the scenes in the film. I think because you use your imagination a little bit more in the book, so where his aunt is being not very kind to him, or he's coming across something in the woods that might be a little bit scary, I found those scenes just a little bit darker and a little bit more sinister in the book than in the film. But it's some interesting casting in there, but I really enjoyed it. I like the addition of Sally Hawkins as one of the characters in there. Again, no spoilers as to what character she plays, but yeah, I think it was a really good adaptation. I enjoyed the film, I enjoyed the book. I highly recommend both. If I was going to say which I preferred, I think just because it was slightly more portable, I would say the book. Obviously, I listened to it on the way to work and back, whereas the film, you have to sit down and watch it, but that's the only reason that I would pick one over the other. I would happily reread the book, I would happily rewatch the film, and I highly recommend both. So thank you very much for watching. As always, if there is a book versus movie adaptation you would like me to read and watch and share my thoughts on with you here, let me know in comments. Make sure you are subscribed and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss out on next next week's Vlogmas video, and also future bookish content and movie review videos for you if they haven't already been posted. I do have some top 10s of the year coming up, so you're not going to want to miss those. And yes, I will see you with my next video soon. Thanks for watching.